Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Okay. So dear Venerable Chalice and dear Sangha. So today we'll resume our discussion which we stopped on the few weeks ago, 1 month ago, right? So we go through these uh, paccayas, like the groups, right? So we finished the connaissance group, and then we did the pre-renaissance group too, right? That we did, right? This one.
Yes.
And yeah. So next group that I intend to start is the strong dependence group, right? This is the one that I'm going to start. Yes. Right. So we are going to start this strong dependence group. But when it comes to the strong dependence, the Upanishad Paccaya, it's connected to other few groups, right? It's connected to few other groups. For the Upanishad, right, for the strong dependence, it's connected to two other groups, some of the Paccaya. The Upanishad Paccaya is three-folded really. So the first one is Aramana Upanishad, which means the strong dependence on the object, strong object dependence. Then Anantara Upanishad, which means is Anantara Paccaya here? Yeah, contiguity, strong dependence. That's the second type. The third one is the natural strong dependence. So these three are the subparts of the strong dependence condition, right? So before moving into the natural strong dependence, Bhagavad Upanishad, we have to clarify a few details on Aramana, and then some details on the Aramana Upanishad, and the Anantara Paccaya, the contiguity, strong dependence. So before moving to the natural strong dependence, we need to have an idea on those Paccayas as well. So therefore, I shared you a note, right? I shared you a note which explains what is Aramana, the object condition, and the other related conditions here, right? So maybe for this week and the next week, we'll be going through these conditions and have a good understanding on what each of these conditioning forces are. Right. So first we learn about the Haraman, the object condition. Right. So then we learn about what is object strong dependence. Right. So yeah, so that's the plan here. So what is Aramana Paccaya, the object conditions? Yeah, so before learning it, we need to know about what is Aramana, right? So in Pali, we find these two words, Aramana and Alambana, and which are similar in uh, essential meaning, which means in terms of uh, the ultimate realities, they mean the same, right? But when it comes to the verbal connotations, it has a subtle distinction. There's a small difference between these two terms. Yes. So the term aramana, it means that it's derived from the idea of intense delight, right? Aramana means intense delight, or which is highly pleasing. So there's a simile given here. Just as a beautiful garden filled with various fruit-bearing and flowering plants is considered delightful and captivating, so too do visible objects, sounds, and other sense objects. Uh, they possess a special kind of power that attracts and engages the mind and the mental factors. Right. So that's the nature of it. So Because of this power, a mind cannot arise independently of an object. So wherever there is a mind, let it be a sensual a sense sphere consciousness, let it be a material sphere consciousness, let it be a immaterial sphere, let it be a supramundane consciousness, all of them, wherever there is a consciousness, there is an object, right? So that power which causes the mind and its associated mental factors to engage with an object inseparably and captivating is known as the Aramana conditioning force, right? So that force, right? That is the Aramana force, which causes the mind and the mental factors to engage with that object, right? So we have the words here, but we have these words. We have the few words like delightful and captivating, right? These words, they do not indicate anything about uh, the attachment, right? It does not indicate anything about craving, right? So it just mentioned about a special force which makes the mind and the associated mental factors to engage with an object inseparably and captivating. And the second definition of alambana, what it means is that that is which is grasped, or that which is held on to. And the simile which is given is just as a weak person may hold on to a stick or rope in order to stand or move, objects such as sights, sounds, etc. possess a kind of supportive power that enables the mind and the mental factors to cling to or depend on them to arise. In this way, no mind, chitta or mental factor, cetasika, can arise without some object. So the power that enables the mind and the mental factors to cling or attach to the mind, the object, is called the alambana conditioning force. Here also the term attach means it's not loba, it's to cling, right? It's as like a weak person, as an old man who may hold on to a walking stick, right, or a rope in order to stand or move. It's like that, right? So in either way, we have to understand the force of the object condition, right, using these two similes, and you have to understand in this way, right? Yes. Right. Now we will go through the conditioning and the conditioned phenomena of the object condition, right? Uh, so the conditioned phenomena are the dhammas, are the phenomena which takes these objects. These are the 89 types of consciousness and the associated 52 mental factors. And okay, yes. Right. So the conditioning phenomena for these 89 types of consciousness and the 52 mental factors are the 89 types of consciousness, let it be past, present, and future. The 52 mental factors, the chetasikas. So what it means as here is the present, past, and future. Right? Which means that the mind and the associated mental factors can take past, present, and future consciousnesses, and also the mental factors, and also the 28 types of materiality, right? So they can be taken. And also the Nibbana, and also the Pañhāti, the conceptual designations, right? So in this way, we have to understand that the object condition, it's there always when the mind is arising, mind and the mental factors. Right. So now we go to the next condition, which is Anantara Paccaya, the proximity condition. There was another name used here, right? The contiguity condition. Either way, it's correct. I think that both of these terms are used by different teachers. So Both of them give the same meaning. So Anantara Paccaya here have given the meaning as proximity condition. So first we have to understand the meaning of Anantara, right? The Pali word Anantara, it is made of two words, right? So Antara means gap or interval. An is a negative prefix which gives the meaning of not or without. So literally, the Anantara means without an interval or gapless, right? So, so this is the literal meaning of it, and the term Anantara refers to a gap in time or the intermediate phenomena that occur between preceding and a following mind movement, right? So in this sense, although both the preceding and subsequent mind moments are said to be in proximity, it is the preceding consciousness that serves as the conditioning factor under Anantara Paccaya, right? So these two meanings are applicable, but uh, uh, the second one is really the one which is there for the in the application, right? So now we will move into the detailed explanation. So it means that every preceding moment possesses a specific conditioning power that enables it to give rise to a subsequent mind moment immediately after its cessation without any intervening phenomena. So this sentence may look quite simple and straightforward, but we need to really break it down to understand this force of uh, continuity, right? So, I'm sorry, force of proximity, right? So every preceding mind moment, right? Every mind moment, they possess a specific power, and it gives the it has a conditioning power which enables to give a rise to a subsequent mind moment. So the first mind moment, it supports the next one, right? And it is immediately after its cessation without any intervening phenomena, which means that between the arising of these two minds, right, there won't be anything at all, right? There won't be any intervening phenomena. So how does it happen, right? So there is, even though no external assistance is required for the next mind moment to arise, which means no one explicitly causes a mind to arise, it is due to the natural law of consciousness succession, right? It's which we learn in the Abhidhamma Sangha as Chitta Niyama, as described in the cognitive process series, that the I consciousness gives the arise to the receiving consciousness, which in turn gives the rise to the investigating consciousness, and so on. So like that, this continuity is there, right? So the first mind moment, the first consciousness, it supports the next one, like that. So each moment arises immediately after the previous one without any temporal gap. So this gap is some phenomena, because we know that there is something called the Nirodha Samapatti, right? So in the Nirodha Samapatti, who can attain this Nirodha Samapatti? It's the non-returner and the Arahantas who possess the eight types of Samapatti, eight types of uh, 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 jhanas, right? Which means the four material jhanas, the rupavachara, and the immaterial jhanas. So once they enter this Nirodha Samapatti, their mind will stop arising for a determined period of time, right? And even in that place, the mind, which is the last consciousness, which uh, which was there in this from the Arahantas and the the non-returners that support the consciousness with the force of the Anantara Paccaya, with the proximity condition to the consciousness which arise uh, after they stop, after they arise from the Nirodha Samapatti, right? Right. So yeah, so having an understanding on these two paccayas, the object and the proximity conditions. Now we move into the strong dependence condition. We know that it's called the Upanishaya Paccaya, right? As I mentioned in the beginning of our Dhamma talk, the class, it's three types of strong dependence conditions are there, right? Aramana Upanishaya, Anantara Upanishaya, and Pakata Upanishaya. The object strong dependence, the immediate strong dependence condition. It's a different name here, right? Yeah, contiguity strong dependence of condition. It's the same thing, right? And Pakata Upanishaya, which is the natural strong dependence condition. Now we will go through the term Upanishaya, the strong dependence, and have an understanding on it, right? So in the Pali, there is a word called upayaso, right? Upayaso means it means upa and ayaso. Upa, this term, the term, the term upayaso, it means uh, the despair or the mental fatigue, right? It means the mental fatigue. And the prefix of upa, this prefix, it conveys the meanings, conveys the sense of strength or the intensity, right? So it means that uh, it's not just a small kind of a, uh, uh, when you say upaya, so it means it's not something that somebody is going through a bad situation, like some kind of a mental stress, or because of maybe somebody passed away, a person who is uh, passed away, who is a close person passed away, and uh, so because of that, that person is going through a lot of mental fatigue, right? So that there, the term prefix upa, it conveys the sense of strength or intensity. So too, in the term of Upanishaya, right? Upanishaya, the prefix of upa, it expresses the meaning of strong or powerful, right? Yes. So the etymology of the Upanishaya is given as Buso Nisayo Upanishayo, right? So Buso means strong or powerful. Nisayo means dependence or supporting cause. Therefore, Upanishayo means a strong dependence or a powerful supporting condition. So according to this etymology, it should be understood that Upanishad refers to a kind of dependence that is stronger than the ordinary dependence. Right? We learn the Nisaya Paccaya, and this is much higher. Right? Uh, it has a dependence which is stronger than the ordinary dependence. So that means it has a superior or an intensified supporting force. Right. So this strong dependence condition, the Upanishad Paccaya, is compared to a rain, right? So what does the rain do? It becomes a powerful supporting cause for the growth and the flourishing of trees and living beings that depend on it, right? It becomes a powerful force. So too, the object, the proximate, and the natural phenomena act as strong supporting conditions for the conditioned phenomena related to them. Right. So, yes. So, yeah. So, in other words, these dhammas function as the powerful supporting causes enabling the arising and development of the phenomena that depend upon them, just as rain nourishes and sustains life. So then we go through the difference between Nisaya and Upanisaya. So this Upanisaya is the supportive power that serves as a foundational aid, helping to establish or maintaining the arising of the conditioning phenomena. It is a root or background support, right? But the Nisaya, in contrast, is the immediate assisting force that at the very moment conditioned phenomena arise, becomes a necessary support such that the conditioned dhammas cannot arise independently of it. Right? So we know that we learn two types of Nisaya, dependence conditions, right? So that one is the Sahajata Nisaya, the connaissance one, and the Purejata, the prenaissance dependence condition. Right? So when you look at the conditioning and the conditioned states of these two paccayas in terms of the nisaya, so they become the immediate assisting force for their respective conditioned phenomena. But with the case of the Upanisaya, the support, the strong support which is provided by the Upanisaya, it does not it does not happen immediately, right? Immediately. The support may come from a previous life, right? We will learn about it later on. So in Upanishad, it's a very strong power, right? So yeah, sometimes it comes from a previous life when it comes to the Pakata Upanishad, right? Right. So to uh, illustrate this in a simile, when rice is produced from paddy, elements such as seed, which is for the paddy, and the field and the rain are considered the main supportive factors, right? So it's like the Upanishad, because they help establish the conditions for growth. But when the rice is being cooked, the pot, the fire, and the water are indispensable supports, right? So this represent the Upanishad like that. Because they are required, it cannot be separated from the cooking process at that moment, like that. Right. So yeah, so now after that, there is a small example given here in terms of for these two conditions, in terms of the two paccayas, right? For the dependence and the strong dependence. So the first one, which is given here, it's the kamma. Like I know that we have not discussed the condition and the conditioning and the conditioned phenomena of these paccayas, but I think that you'll be able to understand this thing without much issue. So the one which is given here is that there is kamma, right? So the kamma is there. It is the past volitional action, and it serves as the supporting foundational condition for the arising of the resultant consciousness, right? So one side we have the karma, and then we have the results, right? So karma is the past volitional action, and then it supports the arising of the resultant consciousness, such as the I consciousness, right? So this is Upanishad, which means that when the karma is supporting its results, the Upanishad Paccaya is there, right? So the karma, it can be done in maybe in this life. It could have been done in the previous life. It could have been done many millions and billions of infinite eons ago, right? The karma can produce results when given the opportunity. So here we have the Upanishad Paccaya, and the other type is the Nisaya Paccaya, which is for the arising of the I consciousness, right? So it's the I base, right? In the same moment, the I base, it supports the uh, it supports the it supports the I consciousness, right? It's a little bit messy here, right? Yeah, so here it's the result, right? Result from the Upanishad is also the I consciousness. The I base, it supports the I consciousness through the dependence condition. It's also uh, uh, the same outcome, right? The same result, the same conditioned phenomena conditioned by two types of conditioning force. Here, the first one from the Upanishad, and the second one is from the Nisaya. So you can understand that when the Upanishad was supporting its result, it came from the past, right? It comes from another point, right? And then for the case of uh, the I base supporting it was there immediately at the immediate point when the resultants are given, right? So you can see the difference here. Okay, no questions. Right. So we'll move into the next pacha. Right. So here we discuss what the meaning of Upanishad, strong dependence. So first, now we are going to discuss the Araman Upanishad, the object strong dependence condition. Okay, so we discussed the Aramana Pacha, the object condition, right? So we understood that all the consciousness and the associated mental factors, when they arise, they take an object, and these objects have a special kind of a conditioning force that supports that consciousnesses and the mental factors to arise. Among these, oh, there's one more thing I have to explain there in the Aramana Pacha. So the object itself is not the object condition, right? That we have to understand, right? So among those objects, there's a question, is it?
Yes, Pandit, there's a question.
Oh, there's a question from Sale. Dosikari, Vandami Bante, sorry about the typing delay. When there is Nanakanika Kama Pacha, is there always Pakatupanisse Pacha? I can answer the question, but I think it will be quite premature for the other students to understand it. So let's wait a couple of days, couple of weeks to answer this question, so then everyone can understand it properly. So among these objects, there are certain objects that which has a kind of a special kind of a conditioning influence, a condition force, uh, which causes that consciousnesses to be to arise in a particular way, right? So they become the object become very compelling, right? And they have the nature of faith arousing. Sometimes uh, it will arise the craving like that, right? There are certain objects like that. They have a special kind of a power, right? So that is called the object strong dependence condition, right? They support, I'm sorry, these objects, they support their uh, conditioned phenomena in a particular way, that they have a strong influence, a powerful conditioning influence on their objects, right? So these are objects, but which have a special kind of an influence over the consciousnesses. So these objects are, there are certain objects given. 18, 18 desirable produce material phenomena. Pali we call it itta nippana rupa, that are so intensively attractive that they grip the mind forcefully. And so there can be objects capable of arousing great faith, saddha, etc. by giving a rise to joy and tranquility. So it's only a very it's kind of very, it's a very small example. Two examples are just given here. There are more details here, which we will be discussing in the object condition group, right? We are not going to discuss in detail now. Yes. Yeah. And now we are talking about Arammana here. And there is something called another paccaya called Aramanadhipati, the object predominance condition. So when we were discussing the predominance condition under in the connaissance group, we mentioned that there are two types of predominance conditions. One is the Aramanadhipati, the object predominance. The second type is called Sahajatadhipati, the connaissance predominance. So there is a relationship, not really a relationship. Yeah, there's a relationship between this object predominance and the object strong dependence condition, right? Yeah. So even though I mentioned that there is a relationship, it's not really a relationship. It's like, it's that the same set of conditioning phenomena and the condition phenomena that these two paccayas share, right? The Arammana Upanishad and the Aramanadhipati paccaya, the strong dependence and the object predominance condition, both of their conditioning phenomena and the condition phenomena are completely identical. Yes. Yeah. So this two in detail we'll be discussing the Aramanadhipati, Arammana Upanishad in the object condition group. Okay. So yeah, regarding the conditioning forces, that we need to understand the distinction between these two paccayas, the object predominance and the object strong dependence condition, right? So the object predominance condition refers to the force exerted by an object which predominates to such a degree that the mind and the mental factors cannot stay without taking that object, right? So this object predominance conditions refers to the force that is exerted by an object which predominates to such a degree that the mind and the mental factors cannot stay without taking that object, right? Like assume that there is some kind of a, it's a very good example would be on the materiality, right? So they assume that there is somebody beautiful, right? Can be a man or a woman or whatever it is, so beautiful. So because of that, there is always an inclination in the mind, inclination to look at that person, right? That it's like that, right? It's like that. The mind and the mental factors cannot stay without taking that object, right? Yes. But in contrast, the object strong dependence conditions refers to a supportive factor of the object that strongly assists the arising of the object-centered mind movements, but without the irresistible dominance characteristic of predominance, right? It's slightly different from this one, from the predominance. It's different from the predominance, right? So, yeah, okay. Not included. There was a Pali here from the commentary. Anyway, yeah, we can understand it here. Yeah. So this in the object strong dependence condition, the same set of conditioning phenomena, they support the same set of conditioned phenomena as a strong assist, right, for the arising of the conditioned phenomena. So, but here it's something that you can understand that the for the object predominance condition, that it has the characteristics which predominates to such a degree that the mind and the mental factors cannot stay without taking that object in that particular way. And another important thing when you are learning this about these two paccayas, especially with this conditioning phenomena, like say, for example, we'll be learning it in detail later on in the object group, but I will explain it here a little bit. So the 18 desirable produce material phenomena, itta, nibbana, rupa. So this the object strong dependence condition, it's not applicable when the objects are indesirable, right? So if it is indesirable, it's not applicable, which means in Pali we call it indesirable, right? So in the Pali it's called, now here it is given the word as itta. The opposite of itta is called anitta, right? Anitta, which means indesirable. So when the object, the inherent nature of the object is anitta, right? If it is indesirable, then this strong dependence condition will not arise. That you have to remember, right? It means that say for example, if it's something ugly, right? Ugly by nature, then it's an indesirable object. The object strong dependence condition or the object predominance condition will not arise, will not have any conditioning force from that thing, right? So this is something, these two forces, only certain types of objects have this nature, right? We have to understand it in that way. Okay, so now we move into the third type, which is anantarupanissaya paccaya, the proximity strong dependence condition. So we learned about the proximity condition, which is the anantara paccaya. So now we have this anantarupanissaya paccaya. So this anantarupanissaya paccaya, it supports the condition phenomena in the same way. And this conditioning phenomena supports in a very strong way, right? For the arising of their subsequent consciousness, the conditioning phenomena serve as a strong dependence, right? As Upanissaya. So that's why it is called as Anantara Upanissaya. So these are two paccayas, right? Two separate paccayas. The conditioning forces are different, right? And the commentary, it explains about the difference between Anantara and the Anantara Upanissaya. So Anantara refers to the conditioning force that has the capacity to immediately generate and appropriate consciousness and mental factors following its own cessation. And on the Anantara Upanissaya is the strong dependence, the powerful supportive condition that enables the arising of subsequent consciousnesses and the mental factors. So that's the difference, right? In the Anantara Upanissaya, it becomes a strong dependence for the subsequent mentality. The Anantara means it is the ability to generate an appropriate consciousness according to the law of the mind, the Chitta Niyama. And in terms of the ultimate realities, there is no difference at all, right? The same set of condition and the conditioning and the condition phenomena are involved in both these cases, right? So, but we have to understand the difference between these conditioning forces. Okay, so I believe that you all can recall one day in one of my classes I mentioned that the most difficult thing in this Paṭṭhāna, in this understanding on the especially the basics in the Paṭṭhāna, it's to do with the understanding of the conditioning forces. Right? I believe you can recall this thing, and now we can find many conditions which are quite which share the same set of conditioning and the conditioned phenomena. At the same time, they have conditioning forces which are different, and the difference is so subtle that it's difficult to understand it. Right? I believe that you all can recall my words. Right? So do your best. Right? Put your best effort to understand these conditioning forces. I know that the conditioning forces and the conditioning phenomena and the conditioned phenomena, to understand them, yes. I mean, to remember them, it's a challenge, of course. I know that very well, right? At the same time, put some serious effort to understand the conditioning forces, right? So once you learn it from the Dhamma, then you will understand it properly, right? There is no way that you are going to understand this thing without the support of the pariyati, from this learning of the Dhamma, right? Yes. Right. So the next thing that we have to discuss is the paccayuppannadhamma paccaya. So, but we don't have enough time here to discuss now. So next week we'll be discussing that one. And if you have questions, now we can discuss them, answer them. Okay, can Bante explain a bit on the different? Okay, first, yeah, we'll answer the Chinese question. No, we cannot say it in that way. So the ghost, it can be done by the devas, or sometimes it can be done by the, what do you call, the yakas as well. It's given in the Vinaya commentary. I have seen it. It's sometimes done by the yakas as well. So when they are controlling, it's not the Aramanadipati. It's that because of their kind of a psychic power which they possess, which they have the ability to control us, right? So Aramanadipati and the Aramana Upanishad, it's something which is inherent in the object itself, right? That supports the conditioned phenomena, which is the mind and the mental factors. So the next question from Siales Sikari is that, can Bante please explain a bit on the difference between Samanantara Paccaya and Anantara Upanishad Paccaya? Yes, I mean, Anantara, the meaning, I mean, the Samanantara Paccaya, right? I intended to discuss this Samanantara and all the related Paccayas in that respective group, but anyway, I'll answer this question here. So there is no difference between the conditioning force on the Anantara and the Samanantara, right? That's how it's explained in the commentary. There is no difference at all. So Anantara and the Samanantara are the same conditioning force, but it's the way that our Lord Buddha has uh, given the discourse, right? Because some people will understand it better when it is preached as Anantara, and some will better understand as Samanantara, right? So in terms of the conditioning force, there is no difference at all, right? And Anantara Upanishad and Anantara, I already explained the difference. I don't have enough knowledge to do that. That's what I know. Like, yeah, cannot do. I don't have enough knowledge to explain it. It should be there. There should be certain forces like the Upanishad, especially. Yeah, the Upanishad is this one kind of a force that can be used here. But I don't have much knowledge on understanding on explaining this thing. It's accumulated by learning, teaching, translating, and discussing the Dhamma. We share the merits with the deities and all the other beings. So with me, share all the merits when I recite these stanzas.
Okay, I think there's one more question. Does Brandon answer, or maybe
Okay,
Chinese question?
When we start discussing the Pañhāvara Vibhanga, like in the Kusalattika Paṭṭhāna, when we start that discussion, please ask this question again, right? Because there are more to explain here. I think it's going to be, the answer is going to be very beneficial for everybody. For the time being, just remember that there is a relationship. That's it. Connect. Ākāsattha ca bhummattha devānāgā mahiddhikā puññāntang anumoditva cirang rakkhantu sāsanam. Ākāsattha ca bhummattha devānāgā mahiddhikā puññāntang anumoditva cirang rakkhantu desanam. Ākāsattha ca bhummattha devānāgā mahiddhikā puññāntang anumoditva cirang rakkhantu mang parang. Idamme ñātīnaṁ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo. Idamme ñātīnaṁ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo. Idamme ñātīnaṁ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo. Imina punya kammena mame bala samagamu satan samagamu hotu yāva nibbāna pattiya. Yang pattang kusalang tassa anubhavena panino sabbe saddhamma rajassa ñatva dhammang sukhavahang papunantu visuddhaya sukaya patipattiya asoka manupayasang nibbana sukhamuttamang Chirang tiṭṭhatu saddhammo dhamme hontu sagarava sabbepi satta kalena sammadevo pavassatu yatharakkinsu purana surajano tatevimang raja rakkatu dhammena attanova pajang pajang Imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya buddhang pujemi. Imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya dhammang pujemi. Imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya sanghang pujemi. Addhaimaya patipattiya Jati jara vyadhi maranam ha parimuccissami. Idang me punyang asavakkaya vahang hotu. Idam me punyang nibbanassa paccayo hotu. Mama punya bhagang sabba sattanang bhajemi. Te sabbe me samang punya bhagang labhantu. Buddha sasanang cirang tiṭṭhatu. Buddha sasanang cirang tiṭṭhatu. Buddha sasanang cirang tiṭṭhatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you very much, Bante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you.